Dajang attempts to secretly record Ilkwon accepting money in exchange for letting her son play basketball, but he catches her mid-act. Smirking, Ilkwon leans in and whispers a shocking secret about Dayang. By the time Dayang arrives, having caught wind of Dajang's plan, she is already tearful and heartbroken. Without a word, Dajang rushes out. Dayang turns to Ilkwon, demanding to know what was said, but Ilkwon coldly replies, "None of your business." Dayang follows Dajang outside to ask again, but she suddenly receives a call from Aaron and, still shaken, tells Dayang to leave her be. Hanging up, Dajang tells Aaron she'll talk later, then heads off to a bar to drown her distress. Ilkwon revealed to Dajang a heavy secret about Dayang from back in 2009, when their kids were still little. Ilkwon had been at the tryouts for the KBU Basketball League and spotted Dayang among the hopeful players. But Dayang, pressed for time and unable to train properly, couldn't keep up with the younger, more agile athletes. Though he didn't make the team, Dayang kept showing up every day, cleaning up after practice and quietly using the court to work on his skills. Then one night, after receiving a call that Shivu was in the hospital, he rushed out and discovered that his young son had asthma. The team's coach had been so impressed by Dayang's relentless dedication that he sent Ilkwon to personally invite him to join their practices, a real shot at playing professional basketball. But Dayang declined. His priority was clear, working as much as possible to pay for Shivu's medical treatment. Ilkwon was stunned that Dayang would sacrifice his dream for a child, yet for Dayang, there was never any doubt about what mattered most. As Dajang cried, she realized Dayang hadn't given up on his dream once, but twice, for his family's sake. Making it worse, Ilkwon planted the harsh idea that if Shivu failed to make the basketball team, it would be because of money, just like his father's story. Dajang connected this to the time when Dayang had started drinking heavily. She'd always scolded him for it, never stopping to ask if he was struggling. Now, guilt weighed on her for not seeing his pain. Dayang followed her home that night, keeping a respectful distance but making sure she arrived safely. The next day, Jiho holds a press conference to address the swirling rumors. Calm and composed, he reveals the truth. He is Seoyeon's uncle and adopted her 2 years ago after his brother's passing. When a reporter presses him about retirement, Jiho firmly states that he wants to show his daughter the importance of responsibility and perseverance. He's not quitting. As he begins to leave, a smug reporter shouts out a provocative question: "Is it true that Seoyeon's mother is still alive?" Other reporters quickly join in, pressing for details about the mother, but Jiho remains silent and abruptly ends the conference. At her home, Seoyeon's mother watches the broadcast, her face clouded with deep worry. Later, after basketball practice, Ilkwon orders Dayang and Shivu to clean up. Dayang sends Shivu off to go home and insists on finishing the chores alone. Outside the school, Jasak spots his father's car pulling up and hurriedly returns inside, curious about what's unfolding. Jasak watches from the shadows as his father hands Ilkwon a wad of cash, securing a spot for him in the starting lineup for the upcoming playoff preliminary game. Furious, Jasak confronts his father in the hallway. His father coldly tells him that the money is necessary because Jasak simply isn't good enough to make it without it. Jasak snaps back, telling his father that's not something a parent should say. In response, his father slaps him hard, warning that without basketball, Jasak won't get into college. But Jasak stands his ground, defiantly telling his father to stop paying Ilkwon, and that if he can't make it to college, he just won't go. He yells out that he's embarrassed of him. Enraged, his father hits him again, knocking him to the floor. Snarling, his father threatens to kick Jasig out like his mother if he doesn't obey. Ilkwon, who has been silently watching, turns and walks away. Unseen by Jasig's father, Daeyoung watches the entire scene. When Jasig picks up a baseball bat, ready to strike his father, Daeyoung roars his name, stopping him just in time. Later, the two sit outside together. Jasig complains that Daeyoung and Shivu always show up during his lowest moments. Daeyoung, piecing things together, gently confronts Jasig, realizing he must have been bullying Shivu because of what he witnessed tonight. Daeyoung hands Jasig a bear, shifting into his older self's fatherly role. Calm and steady, he confides that his own father hit him a few times after his mother passed away. You did nothing wrong, he tells Jasig. So don't do something you'll regret. He promises to keep what he witnessed tonight to himself. Still defensive, Jasig accuses Daeyoung of pitying him. But Daeyoung just shakes his head, saying, "You're a good enough player on your own. Your dad just fell in with the wrong people." Thinking of his own father's rejection, he adds, "Turning your back on someone, even someone you hate, can bring more pain than you think." Jasig sits silently, then takes a sip of the beer. Moments later, he topples over, passed out cold. Daeyoung grumbles, "It's non-alcoholic." Unsure what else to do, he piggybacks Jasig to Dukjin's house and gently lays him on the bed to sleep. Meanwhile, after a long day of practice, Jihoon checks his phone and rolls his eyes at the flood of supportive messages from people who had criticized him just yesterday. One friend sends a photo from a restaurant, inviting him to join, and what catches Jihoon's attention is seeing Dajung in the background. Dajung is there with Aerin, deep in discussion about how to gather evidence against Ilkwon without a recording. Aerin insists they need a parent who's paid Ilkwon to come forward as a witness, though they both know that it's difficult. Aerin's phone buzzes, it's an ex-boyfriend calling. He spots her at the restaurant and motions for her to step outside. Irritated, Aerin refuses, but when he insists she just get in the car to talk, he suddenly speeds off with her inside. He drives them to a hotel, claiming it's where their love story began, then wails dramatically, "You're my first love." Aerin quickly steps out, but her ex follows, grabbing her arm and showering her with wild compliments. "You're daintier than Kim Hanyul, prettier than Kim Tae-hee, and cuter than Suzy." He demands she take responsibility for his feelings. Just then, a firm voice cuts through the tension, "Let go of her," she said no. Dukjin, coincidentally at the same hotel for a meeting, sporting the absolute worst, yet somehow funniest, suit imaginable, strides over. Interpreting Aerin's fears, "Don't you dare," glare as a silent SOS, he boldly announces he's her boyfriend. Forced to go along with it, Aerin praises Dukjin as the sexiest man alive. Her ex, humiliated, drives away laughing. After gratefully thanking Dukjin for his help, Aerin slips into a waiting taxi and heads home. Meanwhile, Dukjin spots Ilkwon in the hotel lobby with a young woman. Still convinced Ilkwon is dating teacher OK, Dukjin's temper flares, he storms over and delivers a solid punch to Ilkwon's face. At the same time, Jiho arrives at the restaurant. Without hesitation, he walks past his friends and takes a seat beside Dajung. Noticing she's alone, he asks why, and she explains her friend hasn't come back yet. Aerin calls Dajang to say she's tired and heading home, so Jihoo offers to walk Dajang out. He also offers her a ride, but she politely declines, knowing his friends are waiting. Respecting her choice, Jihoo gently tells her she doesn't always have to overthink everything. Dajang admits she's dealing with complicated stuff but that talking to him has helped clear her head. Jihoo smiles warmly and reminds her that he's her biggest fan and will always have her back. As Dajang starts to walk away, a scooter speeds too close to her. Instinctively, Jihoo sweeps her into his arms, steadying her safely. With a soft smile, he repeats, "I've got your back." Ilkwon and Dukjin find themselves at the police station, with Ilkwon dramatically claiming he was the one punched, even though he looks completely unscathed, while Dukjin's face is bruised and bleeding. Dukjin calls teacher OK to confess he punched Ilkwon, but Ilkwon practically tackles him, snatching the phone away. Eventually, they settle their dispute and leave the station, only to be met outside by teacher OK. Dukjin tattles on Ilkwon for being caught at a hotel with another woman, declaring that her boyfriend is cheating. Teacher OK looks confused and firmly denies dating Ilkwon. Ilkwon accuses Dukjin of lying, but teacher OK calmly says she doesn't so much believe Dukjin as she disbelieves Ilkwon. She also makes it clear to Dukjin that she has no romantic interest in him. Ilkwon claims teacher OK has been leading both men on, which infuriates Dukjin enough to punch him again. The two end up right back at the police station, but this time Dukjin refuses to let things settle quietly. The next morning, Jasag wakes abruptly to the sound of Dukjin yelling. Jumping out of the unfamiliar bed, he assumes Dukjin is threatening Daeyoung with a beating. In reality, Dukjin is just immersed in a VR game, furiously pretending his opponent is Ilkwon. Dukjin and Daeyoung notice Jasag and exchange a glance. Daeyoung calls Jasag a nice kid. Jasag eyes Dukjin's battered face and recalls Daeyoung saying his father hit him. He's struck by the thought that this seemingly meek man could be capable of such fierce actions. The Sarim High Principal calls Ilkwon into a meeting with school officials, expressing concern over a recent scandal at another school where illegal bribes were paid to college scouts. That school's baseball team had been underperforming because the coach only played kids whose parents had paid up, rather than the best players. The principal grows suspicious of Ilkwon since the basketball team's results have also been slipping, but Ilkwon insists he's innocent. He invites the officials to attend that afternoon's practice, where he'll be selecting his starting lineup. Later that day, Ilkwon announces his starters, naming the team's best players, including Jasag and, with some hesitation, both Shivu and Daeyoung. Daeyoung beams with pride watching his son take the court. Meanwhile, Dajang sends a group text to the basketball team's parents, calling a meeting to discuss Ilkwon's alleged bribery. No one shows up, except for Daeyoung, who learned about it through Dukjin. He tells Dajang he appreciates her trying to make things right, even if the other parents don't seem to care. Touched by his support, Dajang insists that this is an issue for the adults to handle. Noticing her rubbing her stomach and wincing, Daeyoung quickly goes to get her some medicine. As he massages a pressure point on her hand, Dajang suddenly pulls away, reminded of how her husband used to do the same when she was stressed. When Dajang gets home, her mother is already there, and it's clear something's wrong. Dajang tries to brush it off, but her mom grumbles that she never opens up about how she feels. The scene shifts back to when Dajang first found out she was pregnant. Her mother had told her firmly that she was no longer a child herself and now had to take responsibility for her own child. Tearfully, Dajang had apologized and cried on her mother's shoulder. Just then, Xia comes out of her room, yelling at Dajang for moving things around. She looks to her grandmother for support, but mom cuts her off sharply. Hong Xia, why are you acting like that to my daughter? I won't forgive anyone who upsets my daughter, even if it's my own granddaughter. Apologize. Startled, Xia mutters an apology and retreats to her room. Dajang reflects, marveling that she's got a daughter just like herself, just like her mom predicted. Her mother smiles softly and says, no matter that I'm a mother and grandmother, when I'm with my own mother, I'm still just a daughter. So, you'll always be my daughter. On his mother's Memorial Day, Dayang visits her gravesite, remembering her warmly. She had been a sign language teacher, which explains why Dayang is fluent in sign language. When she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, she begged Dayang's father not to tell their son. Yet Dayang had sensed something was wrong, his father's drinking had increased, and his mother refused to talk about her health. Before a big away game, Dayang had asked his mother if she was feeling sick, but she had told him to focus on the game. While he was away, she underwent surgery that went wrong, and she didn't survive. By the time Dayang got home, she was already gone. Overwhelmed with anger, he screamed at his father for keeping his mother's illness a secret from him. That moment marked the beginning of the deep rift between Dayang and his father. Later, when Dayang found out that Dajang was pregnant, he and his father had their biggest fight yet, his father even hit him. Dayang had accused him of pretending to care, pointing out that if he truly cared, he would have told him about his mother's illness. His father tried to stop him from leaving, threatening to disown him if he walked out, but Dayang left without a word. As Dayang leaves the cemetery, he unexpectedly runs into his father. When asked, Dayang truthfully says he's visiting his mother. His father notes that Dayang's mother and his wife died on the same day. They walk together to his mother's grave, where his father reveals he used to come the day after the memorial to give Dayang privacy on the actual day. His father expresses regret for not telling him about her illness sooner so he could have prepared for her passing. This year, since Dayang is out of town on the actual day, he came to visit then. He notices flowers on the grave and assumes Dayang has already been, as they are the same ones he always leaves. Dayang gently corrects him, those are hyacinths, which symbolize a plea for forgiveness. On the bus ride back to town, Dayang reflects on how he never wanted to be like his father, selfish and absent. He remembers Shivu telling him that his own dad wouldn't make it to their big game, but that he's used to it because his father is selfish. Dayang quietly admits to himself that, despite his intentions, he ended up just like his dad, drinking too much, nagging his kids. Though it came from worry, it only pushed them further away. As he walks his father home, Dayang invites him to come watch him and Shivu play the next day. But just before the game starts, Ilkwon unexpectedly changes the lineup, benching both Shivu and Dayang. The other team quickly gains an early lead, leaving Shivu and Dayang to watch helplessly from the sidelines. At halftime, the principal storms into the locker room, yelling at Ilkwon for the team's 15-point deficit and warning that if they lose and get knocked out of the playoffs, he'll be fired. Forced to act, Ilkwon finally puts Shivu and Dayang into the game, just as Dayang's father arrives in time to catch the second half. With them on the court, the boys immediately turn the tide, passing the ball seamlessly, scoring basket after basket. At one thrilling moment, Jasak passes to Shivu, guards him fiercely as he makes a difficult shot, then high-fives him with a wide grin, their teamwork shining bright. From the stands, Dad watches Dayang play, a flicker of recognition stirring deep inside him. He imagines his late wife beside him, proudly bragging that their son is the best. In the final seconds, Dayang sinks a decisive three-pointer, pulling Serim ahead by 1 point and sealing their spot in the playoffs. Shivu rushes over, bursting with excitement, and hugs him tightly. But all Dayang can see is the memory of Shivu hugging him when he was just a little boy, and he struggles to hold back tears. Turning, Dayang catches his father's shocked gaze. The floodgates open, and they both begin to sob. Using sign language, Dayang softly says, "Dad, you said you were the happiest when you watched me play. I wanted to show you again. I'm sorry it took me so long. I'm sorry, Dad." Later, outside the locker room, Dad waits for him. Dayang steps into his father's arms, and Dad whispers his own apology. They hold each other tightly, tears of relief and joy streaming down their faces as they finally find peace. Additional scene. That moment hits Dajang like a wave, the weight of the past and present converging. Her breath catches as she looks at Dayang, standing there in his uniform, a living reminder of a promise made years ago. Their eyes meet, and for a heartbeat, time seems to stand still. The crowd's noise fades away, the pressure of everything else momentarily lifted. With a small, knowing smile, Dayang nods toward the court, a silent message, they're still in this together. Dajang, heart swelling with a mix of hope and gratitude, steps forward, ready to face whatever comes next.